Hello everyone, it's me Clayton. I just finished watching Fast X, starring Vin Diesel, Jason Momoa, Michelle Rodriguez, Charlize Theron, John Cena, Tyrese Gibson, Ludacris, and a ton of other cast members, as the Fast and Furious franchise seems like it's about to come to an end. Well, with this film as well as the next one and possibly one more. Yeah, the Fast and Furious franchise is possibly one of the most ridiculous film franchises of the bunch, starting as a series of films that were genuinely about street racing and a tenuous relationship between Paul Walker and Vin Diesel's characters that suddenly evolved into movies about bank heists, going into space, stopping supervillains, and thwarting terrorists. And this latest film is all about revenge, as a villain from the past comes back that we didn't know was there before, as he basically becomes the new final boss of the franchise. Let's get to the story, shall we? The story follows Dominic Toretto, once again, played by Vin Diesel, as his family seems like they're going to be living the good life soon. And but Roman happens to be doing a job in Rome that seems like it's going to be that about the team just getting a few computer chips for a supercomputer. However, after a huge incident involving a bomb near the Vatican is caused by a man named Dante, played by Jason Momoa, Dominic Toretto quickly finds out that this Dante is the son of one of the villains from Fast Five, and that he was actually there in the infamous bank vault scene the entire time. So it's up to Dominic Toretto and his buddies to try and get together after Momoa basically puts the agency against him, and with the agency having a new head played by Alan Richardson, it's very clear that the entire world is going against our heroes, as the beginning of the end is put into the perspective for this franchise. Now, with a budget of $340 million, that of course means there's going to be a lot of cars, a lot of explosions, and a lot of weapons being used. And naturally, it's so freaking over the top that you'd swear the story is written just to get our heroes from one action scene to the next. And it definitely feels that way, whether it's fistfights involving Charlize Theron and Michelle Rodriguez in a prison, whether it's humongous amounts of destruction in Rome and in Rio de Janeiro, or whether it's just Jason Momoa killing people in the most over-the-top ways possible. All of that stuff happens in this movie, and Jason Momoa himself is possibly the most entertaining part of it. He doesn't just chew the scenery, he gobbles up the scenery, goes to the next bit of scenery, and eats every single bit of it as much as you can for someone at an all-you-can-eat scenery buffet. He is so ridiculously over the top to the point where you'd swear it's too much for any series except Fast and Furious, which in turn makes him perfect as the series' final boss. He makes every scene he's in a delight, which is probably why some of the new characters don't stand out nearly as much. I mean, when you have Jack Reacher leading the agency, you'd think he'd stand out a bit more than he overall does, but he does feel like he's just playing second banana to Momoa throughout most of the film. And third banana could definitely go to Brie Larson, though to be fair, she's a lot more entertaining here than I'm sure she's going to be in The Marvels. But the fact that this is a part one of a finale does bring with it a lot of negatives. Chief among them being that this film feels like it's just a setup for what's going to happen in the next film, to the point where it has a massive cliffhanger, and the fact that the film also has some sequences that are so ridiculous to the point where it feels like they're too much even for this series. Especially any sequence involving Dominic's son. He gets in on the destruction and even on the driving in some instances, and it just feels like both Dom and his brother Jacob are pretty ridiculously irresponsible when it comes to taking care of this kid. But then again, we look at either of these characters, and you really think that responsible dad or uncle is the words you use to describe them. So yeah, these films never manage to make any sense, and they never manage to be anything remotely realistic ever since number 5, but I can't help but like them. I'm sure that those who have disliked this direction of the series will find more than enough things to make fun of in this film. But when it comes to ridiculous action movies that seem to just raise the bar when it comes to the absolutely ludicrous, I can't help but enjoy it. That's why I'm going to give Fast X a 7 out of 10. See you next time.